Hey guys, I'm so excited to be doing a live chat about This Is Us. I think it's been quite a while since I've done one, but I wanted to do something special for the super special Super Bowl episode, which is probably the biggest episode the show has ever done. If you are in the room, let me know by saying hello. I know I have a few people who watch This Is Us along with me. And I usually do videos, like I kind of group them where I'll do like a video about 3 or 4 episodes or whatever. This Is Us is a very different show for me, as you guys know, if you watch other shows that I watch, because it's not a murder show. It's not really a mystery show. And it's kind of a show that I really enjoy just watching, like on the app, like on the NBC app, or like watching on a plane. I've watched so many episodes of like on a plane or when I'm traveling. Just like being alone in a room where I have my undivided attention to like my laptop or my iPad. I like doing it that way. Now, I did watch last night's episode live because I knew it was going to be such a big episode, and I didn't want to get spoiled, because a lot of times I'll get on social media and people aren't meaning to spoil, but they'll be talking about specific things that happened in the episode, and I haven't seen the episode yet, and I'm like, oh my god, I haven't seen that. Like, I don't know what they're talking about, but I don't want to know. So since this episode was going to reveal everything that happened with Jack's death, I was like, I have to watch it live because this is a special episode. I do not want to be spoiled in any way on social media. So that being said, I hope everyone who is here has seen the episode. I don't think the title I put in there, obviously, that Jack died, because we've known that he's been dead for pretty much the whole series. So I don't view that as a spoiler at all, because that's common knowledge. But we found out exactly how he died, and what I thought was interesting, and I always kind of figured that he did not die directly because of the fire. Right, I mean, he kind of did, but he kind of didn't. He did not die in the blaze, or he didn't get knocked out and never come out of the house, because that's the way this show is. Even though it's not like a murder show or technically like a murder mystery show, there are so many twists and turns within the show, and that's what makes it so amazing, I think. So they tricked us into thinking from the different promos and the episodes we've had in the past that he was going to die like in the blaze, or die because he got like knocked out because of smoke inhalation and never made it out of the house. But the craziest moment ever was when he walked out of that house with the dog. That was one of the pivotal moments of the episode. Hi, Stacey Ann. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys can let me know in the comments, because I see a few people are in the room, but let me know in the comments what your favorite moments were from the show. But honestly, for me, even though I really did like the way they told the story of his death, there were 2 moments in this episode that I felt like were standout moments, and one of those had nothing to do with Jack at all. And we'll start with that one. And that was something that I've never seen them do on this show. Maybe they have, so remind me if I'm incorrect about this. But for them to go into the future on this show, I've never seen them do that, and I absolutely love the way they portrayed Tess as a young adult and showed her dad. Actually, Randall didn't look that much older, so I feel like maybe that's like 10 years into the future or something. I feel like she's like in her very early 20s maybe. I love the fact that she's working with the foster care system, and the way they've told everything. I knew for a fact that little boy was not going to be a new foster kid for Randall's family, just because they always do so many twists and turns. I was trying to figure out what exactly they were going to do with that. And I just thought that was probably the most special part of the episode, and I was so intrigued by seeing something from the future. And I like that they're doing that, because that gives us an opportunity to have more things going on in the future, maybe to see Tess's little sister in the future, or just to see some of the other people we know present day as older people. I think that was really genius, and I absolutely love the way they worked that in. The second thing that really stood out to me was when Mandy Moore when Rebecca was being told that her husband had died. She obviously was so in shock that even when she knew, she stopped to take a bite of her candy bar, and that really caught me in that moment. And then later in the episode, Rebecca talked about how she felt stupid because she took a bite of her candy bar. But I thought that was a very interesting moment, and I think everyone reacts differently to really bad news, and bad news being that someone died, or something along those lines, something that you weren't expecting. I was just thinking of myself and an experience that I had where I got some bad news about death, and personally how I took that was really rationally, and I was like, oh wow, well, this person had a really good life, and they were very loved and everything. I remember because it was very unexpected when I got this news. And I just remember telling the person who told me, like, okay, but they had a good life and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, so kind of like Mandy Moore, kind of like Rebecca in that moment where I didn't know at the time, but I was like such in shock that I didn't have the right emotions. I was like trying to make sense of everything and trying to be like, well, but they had a great time on Earth and like they were very loved, and I was just trying to logically explain it so that I could understand it. And then like as time progressed, I started to realize what had actually happened and process those emotions. So I feel like when she took a bite of her candy bar and everything, she was just in such a state of shock because she had just been talking to Jack. He seemed pretty okay to her. And it was interesting because she was like telling the doctor, like, do you have me confused with someone? Like, do you not remember me? We just talked. We came in here for a burn. So I thought that was just really interesting. And I think that Mandy did such an incredible job in this episode. I think she is a really great actress anyway, but every time I think about her as a young girl, like singing Candy and stuff like that, and how far she has come, and I thought that her music was really good back then, but like, look how far she's come, and I think it's just amazing that she has this amazing career as an actress, But hopefully some of you guys would like to share your thoughts, like maybe Stacy, who said hello, or some of the others of you in the room, so that it's not just me talking the whole time, because I really do want to see what other people thought about this episode. I have not looked on social media today to see what people have thought because I was wanting to hear from you guys about what you thought. And I know several people have been asking me, like, am I going to do something about this episode? Am I going to still cover This Is Us? And the answer to that is yes, absolutely. Just in a different way than I cover other shows on here. Emily is asking about my test thoughts. I just talked about that, but I will summarize again for those of you who are just now getting here. That was my favorite part of the show. I love the fact they went into the future, which I've never seen them do on this series. I thought that was just totally done perfectly with us wondering, like trying to make us think that the little boy was going to be Randall's new foster kid, but all along it was a child she was working with. The fact that the impact of having foster kids made her want to grow up and work in the foster care industry, or for the system, I thought was just so cool and so special. And I'm excited by them showing us something in the future because that opens the door to have other future things happening in episodes. And I think that's so cool because we've spent so much time in the flashbacks, which I enjoy, and in present day. But now we can go into the future with people. And I think that is really cool. I love that so much. So again, that was my favorite part of the episode, an unexpected part of this episode that I loved so much. Emily said, did I notice Jack saying Rebecca's name while she was at the vending machine? No, I mean, I knew something terrible was going on. I saw people rushing in the background and everything. I don't know if you're talking about when she was on the phone. Well, I guess she was at the vending machine after the phone call. Yeah. I was specifically tuning in, like paying special attention, like while she was on the payphone, because I saw everyone rushing around and I heard like some kind of alert call over the intercom system. And I was like, yeah, I knew that was the moment something was wrong, and that was the death moment for him, So I didn't hear him say her name, but that's really powerful and sad. I mean, she just stepped away for a little bit, and it was like nothing to feel bad about because he seemed totally fine. But she literally stepped away for a couple of minutes, and in that couple of minutes, he died. Not that her being there would have kept him alive or anything, but that was crazy. And I just think that was a really powerful moment when she went to Miguel's house and he was like, where's Jack? And just his reaction. And also knowing the fact that they end up getting married later. And I wondered how they were going to show her telling her kids, and they actually didn't show it. You couldn't hear anything. And they didn't show Kate telling her brother. They showed it, but you did not hear the delivery of like, Jack died or whatever. The only time we heard that was when the doctor told Rebecca, and then when Rebecca told Miguel, And, another great moment with Mandy Moore's acting was when she had to, she was like, just give me a couple of minutes for the kids. And then she went in the car and like freaked out, And I always had thought it was interesting because we all had assumed he died in the fire. But I remember in a episode maybe last year where she had been given his personal effects, like his watch and wallet and stuff. And I was like, why are those they don't seem affected by the fire. And I I thought that was kind of the clue that he doesn't die in the fire. So you see them packing all that stuff up at the hospital because that wasn't affected by the flames or anything. And so now we can understand Kate's issue with having a new dog. The fact that probably if he had not gone back in there searching for the dog and spent extra time getting more smoke in his lungs, he most likely would have not died that day. So, you know, when she blames herself and that guilt, I'm not saying she should, but now we have a better understanding of that and her, you know, strange feelings about dogs or getting another dog. And by the way, I'm so happy they got that little dog Audio. He's so cute. And I think it's a big step for her to overcome her fears and know that this dog is not tied into the bad experience she had with her previous dog. And it wasn't like a bad experience with her dog, but the fact that she thinks that's one of the reasons her dad is no longer with them, you know. But for anyone else in the room, what would you like to talk about regarding this episode or this entire show or this series, season? Anything that you loved about the episode? I don't know if there's anyone who disliked any part of the episode. I was reading on their Facebook before, a couple days ago, just random people I didn't even know. And I did see a few people say they couldn't get into the show. Like a lot of, you know, they were like, all my friends watched it. I tried to watch it and I couldn't get into it, which is weird because I've never had anything negative to say about this show. And I'm pretty critical when it comes to shows. But like, there's never been an episode that I thought was bad or I've just never felt, you know, underwhelmed or bored. Or I think it's such a good show. I honestly think it's one of the best shows to come along probably ever, and that's saying a lot. It's just incredible. Stacey says you're excited that Deja is back. I love that element. So, you know, when Randall's wife got the call, we were thinking, I think they wanted us to think that it was the call about the little boy being the foster kid for them, but it was actually Deja wanting to come visit, which I was so sad when she left. I thought she was a great element for their family, and I really worry about her as a character, obviously, because her mom is just not a stable person, and I know her real mother loves her and everything, but I think that's a bad situation. So I'm excited she's back. I don't know if she's just back, like, you know, because she's going to visit, or if she's going to try to come back in some way. I don't know how they're going to work that out, but it was cool to see her again. JMG says you just watched the episode. It was incredible. Yes, absolutely agree. Vanessa says, looks like Dr. K will be back on tomorrow's episode, and I think you're referring to the man who delivered the big three, or at least two of them. But yes, I think he's really cool, and I like him. He's a great actor anyway. Emily says more people will now be more Team Miguel. You can replace Jack and Rebecca, but you can't replace Jack and Rebecca, but you can get it. I've never had an issue with Miguel. I think it's hard, and I think it's hard for the kids because, you know, even though he's not a replacement for their dad, he sort of is stepping into that place. I always wondered how everything played out with him and his wife, but the good thing is that he was divorced from his wife while Jack was still alive. I don't think there was any kind of infidelity or anything like that going on, and it looks like, I think from a flashback, like he didn't get with Rebecca until they were much older because I think they connected on Facebook. So, you know, I don't think it's right for anybody to have any bad feelings towards Miguel. You know, he's just not as cool as Jack. He's just not, to me, he's just not Jack. You know, no one's ever going to be Jack. And I'm sure anybody who has lost a family member and then their mom or dad remarries or whatever, it's hard because that person is never going to be the person who passed away, you know. But you can't expect Miguel to be that person, you know. JMG says you love the twist about Tess in the future. Do you think we'll see more of older Tess in the big three in their older years? Yeah, that's something I talked about at the beginning of this show, of this live show, and I'm very much hoping for that. I love the fact we got to look into the future with one of the or two of the characters, and I'm very much hoping we get to see like her sister in the future, maybe Kate and Randall, and why can't I think of Kevin in the future. I think that would be so cool. So I really, really love that. Yes. But again, I thought it was such a good episode. I guess you guys know about the whole crock pot controversy because of last week's episode and the fact that, he did turn the crock pot off, but there was like a fault, you know, some kind of faulty wiring or just old or whatever, and that's essentially what caused the fire. And because of that, like crock pot decided to open a North America Twitter account trying to defend themselves because people were like not wanting to use their crock pots on Super Bowl, which is like, that's like a staple. If you're not from America, that's like a staple item to cook Super Bowl food, like here in America. So there was a huge controversy over that. And even I think the guy who plays Jack was like, Milo was like talking on Twitter, like, look, it's not the crock pot. It's not crock pot's fault. You know, this is fictional. It was kind of funny and sad at the same time that people were seriously thinking they needed to throw out an appliance or whatever because of a fictional show. But I mean, I think this goes for anything. Like if you're using any kind of appliance that's like 20 years old or something, and they knew that that crock pot did not work correctly, they also knew they did not have the batteries in their smoke detectors. So, you know, they were taking some chances there. Not trying to blame anyone on the fictional show, but you know, I don't think it's Crock-Pot's fault, and I don't even think they called that an official Crock-Pot, but we all know that's what it was. But anyway, I just think it's interesting that people in real life took it personally and thought that like that was a sign they should get rid of their Crock-Pot, you know. So as Sarah says, maybe you should just unplug the Crock-Pot. Yeah, the Crock-Pot commercial with Milo is funny. So, yes, Stacy, yes. So, you know, I just thought that was an interesting little side element that they probably didn't expect. Vanessa says, you're glad Kevin finally let his feelings out and telling Jack his feelings. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of his healing process and him getting over his addictions and becoming like a happier person himself, is to work through his feelings about his dad, because as Kate had told him, like he'd never really done that, you know, and that's understandable. Yeah, so it definitely looked like the football game that Rebecca was watching was, I could see the colors of like the Patriots, so I wasn't sure how they did that, or if they would just kind of, they knew the team's going to be in last night's Super Bowl, so they kind of had like a fake looking Super Bowl on TV. They showed it very quickly. I don't know how they did it because we know they filmed this episode before last night's Super Bowl aired. But that was interesting. It was a really cool element to add to make it relevant and like really timely, you know, Emily. That's what I thought. Yeah, but anything else that we haven't discussed or that anybody wanted to talk about, like favorite moments or any criticisms? I don't know why I'm saying that because, I mean, I just want to say if you have any, that's okay, because I've said like I never have any. Vanessa's asking if I think Kevin will get back together with Sophie. I hope so. I think really she's like the one for him. I really do, but I think he's messed it up so many times that I don't know. Because I'm with her and I, you know, when she's like pretty much saying she's done, and I think that's right of her because I feel like I would be the same way. But I think they're kind of meant to be together. I think if they do, I think they'll get, they were married before, but I think they'll get remarried, but I think it'll be way into the future. I think like he will get another girlfriend, maybe a serious girlfriend, maybe even get engaged, possibly even married. I mean, if you guys ever watch like Sex and the City, I feel like soulmates always, I'm not going to spoil that for anybody who hasn't seen it, but the theme of soulmates always get back together, even if, you know, you end up marrying other people and years go by. I think when you're meant to be with someone, like you will get back with that person. And that's kind of the theme of Sex and the City, where, you know, the person who was the lead in that was so many different people, but kind of makes their way back to the right person all along. But, you know, I'm talking about people getting married and engaged and whatever and going on with their lives and then finally working their way back to that person. JMG says your favorite line this episode. I agree with you. Has to be, he ain't giggling no more, which is what Beth said when she stepped on Mr. Giggles. I laughed. I'm glad they did not show like the crushed lizard or whatever. It was very sad for, you know, the girls, but it was funny. And I honestly laughed when Rebecca took a bite of her candy bar, even though that was not like a funny moment. It was just kind of funny that she was reacting that way. And it's not funny that he died, so don't get me wrong, but that was funny to me. I laughed. I mean, I gotta be honest, I laughed. But yeah, I mean, it's such a great special show. And again, it's like I typically do not watch it live because I don't like sitting through the commercials and I don't like distractions. And I like watching stuff at night. You guys probably know this if you have watched anything I've done or been to a live chat of mine. But I like watching stuff like when I'm in bed, like in the dark. There's no distractions. Whatever I'm watching has no commercials, because I can really take it all in. And I feel like this is a show that you can't be like staring at your phone or multitasking. Or for me, I like to have my undivided attention to this. Stacey says, do I think Kate and Toby are going to be able to have a child? Yes, I do. But as far as the future timeline goes, I don't think they will show us people in the future that we haven't even met in the present. So what I'm saying is, I don't think we would see like a potential kid of Kevin's next week or something if we don't even know that person exists. But once we've established that somebody has a kid, I think we could see them in the future. But that's the way I think they'll work that out. Sarah says Jack made the choice to run back into the fire, so you see why Kate blames herself, because he went back in for the dog, but he also ended up getting other things. And that's true. So he did go back in because of Kate and her dog, but he did spend extra time because he was gone for, a while, considering the house was in flames. He got like the necklace of Rebecca's that he gave her. He got picture albums and stuff like that. But I don't think anyone could be angry with him as like in his family. He was trying to do the best he could. He was trying to be the best dad that he is and the best husband. And no one, it was a miracle that he made it and walked out of the house and got the dog, Sarah says also Kate never asked her dad directly to go save the dog. She was just upset because the dog was in the house. And I think, logically, like what Rebecca was saying, is you don't go back in, because you go back in, you're taking a huge chance that you don't come out. And it's a dog, and to me, dogs are like children and people. So that's such a tough call. Like personally, I'm an adult. I'm not a child like Kate, but I would probably go back in for my dogs. But I'm saying if just one was trapped, I would probably go back in and risk my life. But that's a tough call because, at the end of the day, if I go back in there, if he goes back in there, neither one of us may come out, and that's basically what Rebecca was saying, like, don't go back in because I don't know. And, that's a big gamble. And he did make it back out, but the time he spent in there initially because going to get the dog was what cost him his life anyway. So it's hard. That's really hard. Very hard situation. I can't imagine that being a real life situation and being one of the children like Kate or Randall or Kevin, and knowing, I don't know. I can totally see where Kate is coming from, because I would probably think forever, like, why did I even say something about, because she said something about, the dog was sleeping downstairs. She doesn't know what happened to it. And then I think we heard the dog bark, but but I don't blame her at all, because I would have been freaking out if it had been one of my pets, and I would have been like, I would have said, I want to go. I think I would have tried to go back in. I think they were like 17 at the time. I would have volunteered to go back in. I'm sure my parents would have been like, no, but I probably would have just ran in, just in a panic, So it's hard, but I get what she's feeling, and I get that. Even though I've not experienced something like that, I can understand, But yes, for those of you wondering, I'll still keep watching the show. I just don't plan on doing weekly videos or anything like that. I think I'll just do videos when it feels like it's a special time. And I'm doing this chat just because it's such a special episode. And this may be something that I'll do like a video because it's the finale, or there's a big cliffhanger, or maybe somebody dies we're not expecting. I don't know. That's kind of when I'll be doing stuff on this show. But if you follow me on Twitter, you can always talk to me about the show on Twitter, and that is the best place for you guys to know like what I'm doing when I'm having a live chat, when I'm uploading. Every video I upload, it immediately sends out a tweet with a link to the video. So if you're not getting the alert, sometimes YouTube messes up and people don't know when I have a new video, or people I'm subscribed to, I have no clue they're having a new video, even though I signed up for the alerts. So that's the best way to keep up with me. If you can follow me, like turn on your alerts there if you want to. If you don't want to, it's okay. But I usually don't tweet a ton on there. I retweet about shows that I watch, but I don't think I would be setting off like the alert systems for you guys a lot. But if I am, let me know. Because I think when I reply to people, I don't think that should like send you a text or anything. I wouldn't think. Or like when I retweet something, I don't know. But I guess we'll wrap it up here. I just wanted to do this special chat because of its being such a special episode. And if you are new here, if you like This Is Us, again, I'll still be doing stuff on This Is Us, but I do a lot of other shows as well. So if you want to subscribe. I would really appreciate that support, and thumbs up if you've enjoyed this chat. I'm also still covering How to Get Away with Murder. I just had a video go up with a theory about one of the characters today. I won't spoil that for anyone who may not watch or is behind. And I'm still behind on Riverdale, and I haven't liked it recently, and I've gotten 2 episodes behind. I need to go back to them. You guys can let me know in the comments if it's worth catching up on the last 2 episodes, because I got behind because of traveling and having a family member come stay with me for a while. So anyway, I need to return to that. But thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for everyone who participated in the conversation, because it's really no fun for me to sit here and talk to myself. So thank you guys for making it interesting, and just glad I can share this special show with others like you guys who love the show as well. So Vanessa's saying the episodes were fillers for Riverdale, which is very disappointing. That makes me not want to keep watching it. I don't know what to do about that show. It's just like to the point where watching it is not exciting for me, and I don't look forward to new episodes, and that's not good. Because like How to Get Away with Murder, I'm very into right now, and I want to watch the episodes. But the bad thing is, if you get super behind on a show, a lot of times it'll turn around, like what happened with Dexter. Like a whole season sucked, and I quit watching it, and then it got really good. So it's like, if I give up, I keep thinking, man, what if it's like ends up being really good, and then I totally miss it. But anyway, thank you guys so much again for being here. Hope you guys are having a great week. And I'll be doing more stuff throughout this week on How to Get Away with Murder, and I'll have to make a decision about Riverdale and if I will continue watching. And if I do, of course, I'll do videos. But bye, guys. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.